This Google Ads campaign on screen here has made one of my clients an extra $38,000 over the last 30 days and a new customer CPA of $40.73, which again is profitable. And the surprising thing is that it's running on a placement which 99% of e-commerce brands are not using right now on Google Ads. So in this video, I'm going to show you the exact campaign that we're using to get this result for them and how you can copy it for your e-commerce brand before your competition catches on. All right, so what is this Google Ads campaign and why aren't e-commerce brands using it in 2025? The campaign I'm talking about, which got the result I just showed you, is YouTube Shorts campaigns ran through demand gen. And what I'm about to show you goes against all the conventional wisdom when it comes to most people's understanding of Google Ads for e-commerce brands in 2025, because they put all of their budget in shopping, they put all of their budget in performance max, they hardly even touch search, and they don't even look at demand gen as a way in which you can acquire more new customers for your e-commerce brand if you know what you're doing. And we're told this strategy is powerful where you don't even need demand gen, you don't even need any other top of funnel engines to scale your e-commerce brand with Google Ads in 2025. But the problem with that is that I run Demand Capture, which is a premier Google and YouTube ads agency for e-commerce brands, specifically supplement, health and wellness. And what we see across all of our client accounts after spending millions of dollars on Google ad spend profitably is that if you look at the data, most brands get capped at around $50,000 to $150,000 per month in ad spend that they could spend on Google without cracking into more top of funnel channels. I'm talking search, but most importantly in this video, I'm talking about demand gen and YouTube short campaigns. After looking at the data, the reason why this happens is because most brands are capped on search volume. So if your market only searches 10,000 times per month for your particular product category or investigative questions surrounding your product, whether they're problem aware or product aware, then you can do all of the optimizations that you want in terms of increasing the effectiveness of your ad copy to increase your conversion rate. And the problem with that is that you can do all of the optimization that you want on your ad copy to increase your click-through rate, or on your landing page to increase your conversion rate, or you can try some different bidding strategy or a different offer, but you're ultimately capped by how many people are even searching for the phrases that you're bidding on in the first place. But it gets even worse because what your competitors are also doing by bidding on the more low-hanging fruit search terms and running campaigns towards those is increasing the size of the auction, which means there's more people bidding for those keywords, which means that it's going to be more expensive, which means it's going to be more competitive, which means not only are the costs going to go up, but your chances of getting that conversion and winning that new customer through Google is going to go down. So I thought, wait a second, people traditionally see Google ads for e-commerce brands as branded traffic or just people who are looking for product aware solutions. And yes, it's going to be expensive. Yes, you're going to not be able to crack it too much and you can't really scale it too far, but you also don't want to put all your eggs in one basket and be on meta ads the whole time. So I thought, why not, instead of just capturing the demand, which is our namesake and is what we're good at, why don't we generate the demand on Google as well? Is there a way to generate demand on Google similar to what you can do on Meta, where it's a demand generation channel as opposed to a demand capture channel? And the answer in this is in YouTube Shorts. And that's how we're able to uncap the spend on our clients that we work with by taking the marketing budget we would want to spend on PMax, what we would want to spend on shopping, or we don't necessarily want to have to spend on Meta, and putting it into YouTube Short campaigns. And what we found as well is that these campaigns have dirt cheap CPMs, similar to 2014 Meta ads. The customers have high intent, the targeting is amazing, and the same creatives that work on Meta and the same funnels and conversion mechanisms that also work on Meta also work on YouTube Shorts as well. So with that being said, I'm going to give you the exact campaign structure that we use to scale our brands on YouTube Short ads so that you can also get new customers for your e-commerce brand, and you can understand how to leverage a tool which your competitors just aren't using and probably won't use for the next years to come. So you can be ahead of the game on this. You can be in the blue ocean of YouTube Shorts for Google ads for your e-commerce brand, whilst your competitors are still bidding on shopping campaigns which are, and you would know this because you're bidding on them too, not working as well as they ought to be. And you're able to diversify your marketing to where you're not so reliant on meta ads, to where if your ads get shut down or your account gets shut down, you at least got another working channel there that you're putting ad spend into, that you're competing with, that you're acquiring new customers who aren't on Facebook, they're not on Instagram, you can't advertise them to them anyway, they're more likely to buy from YouTube. You're there everywhere across the internet to the point where your customers can't escape you, but in a good way. So now I'm going to give you the exact system I use to set this up so you can test if this works better for your brand too. And step one works like this. If you want to scale past search volume, you need to stop looking at keywords and these new type of keywords that you want to be bidding on. You need to think about audiences and creatives the same way that you think about Meta. The general consensus now is that creative does all the targeting, and it's the same thing that applies to YouTube. You could be running this broad. So we're not thinking about keywords, we're not thinking about the different search phrases or where we're doing broad match or exact match. We're just thinking about the audience segment being in that little pocket of that market that we're going to be hit with that creative, to where Google then understands who that person is and is able to serve that ad to them on that placement. And because Google is starving for ad dollars on YouTube Shorts right now, they'll just give it to you immediately. And that's why we're able to spend so much, because it's so cheap in terms of the CPMs, but also the clicks and the intent is there, and it's backing out in terms of profitable campaigns on cold traffic. So for me, every single YouTube Shorts campaign and every single campaign within your Google ad account starts with one goal in mind, and it should be around purchases. If you're not sure if your conversion tracking set up to the best that it could be, my most popular video on my channel is exactly how to set up conversion tracking for Google ads for e-commerce brands in 2025. Click that there. How to set up conversion tracking is also in our free Google Ads course, which you can find in the second link in the description, contains everything that you need to scale your e-commerce brand to Google Ads in 2025. The exact playbook that we use to get results for all of our clients. If you want it, second link in the description, put in your email, I'll send it to you absolutely for free. So you want to have purchases in mind. And to get to the setup, you want to go to new campaign. Your objective is going to be sales. And you're going to make sure that your conversion goal is on purchase. Now, when it comes to the campaign type, you would think that because it's a YouTube campaign, you'd want to select video, but Google's actually phasing this out and it's not going to give you the results that you're looking for when it comes to scaling your brand on YouTube ads. So you're going to be wanting to select demand gen instead. You click continue, and this is where you set up your demand gen campaigns. Enter in your campaign name, and I'm going to tell you how to do that. But the next thing you'll be presented with is product feed campaigns. I will say this and put it in record on video. I do not recommend that you run product feed campaigns for this. We have tested this over across all of our accounts that we're running demand gen campaigns for, and we've never seen it work. Could be a skill issue on our end. There could be brands where product feed campaigns work really well for it, but we've always turned this off and just let it be a pure YouTube campaign. So here we'll just turn it off. Your campaign goal is always going to be around conversions up until the point where you really want to set a target CPA on that campaign. For now, if you're just starting out, select conversions. Our campaign goal is already purchases, and we're not going to set a target CPA yet. We want to have max conversions just to test and not limit Google in terms of how much it's willing to spend to try and acquire that customer. And for budget, real quickly, I recommend starting at around $100 per day or 2 to 3 times your break-even CPA. This also depends on how many creatives you have within the ad groups, but we'll get to that in a second. Now, for location and language, you want to set it to your primary location that you're going into. Let's say, for example, you're in the US, you want to select US and you want to select English. Don't select all languages in the US because you'll start hitting Spanish, which is a predominant language in the US. You just want to set it to English or the language that your ads are in. For devices, I highly recommend setting specific target devices and just going on mobile. I recommend you running desktop if you do find a lot of your traffic is from desktop. If you have a high AOV product, if you have a more luxury good and you do find that your customers do buy from desktop. But to be fair, even in our high AOV clients, most of the time, all of their traffic is in mobile. All of their conversions are in mobile. That's how people like to shop nowadays. And if you're not optimizing for mobile, you're lighting money on fire. So for this specific example, and I recommend you start here first, you just go on mobile. No need to exclude anything else. People talk about excluding Android people. You just run it on mobile for now. If you want to set a particular ad schedule, that's fine. What I've seen work really well is that you set it between 5 a.m. and 11 p.m. So if you've got people who are up late at night, you're just not serving in those windows. But typically speaking, we have seen success in just running it all days as well. This might be something you want to test, but it's quite low leverage. And that's all you need for the initial settings. Now, if we're heading over to the ad group, this is where it gets interesting. Here's where you have the options for the location. So again, select your country and select the language that your ads are in. So we're going to select English here. And then for channels, you don't want to select all channels. You want to let yourself choose. And because we're running YouTube campaigns primarily through video, we're not running images, we're not running statics or carousels. We want to tick off Discover, tick off Gmail, and tick off Google Display Network. These are like super top of funnel stuff. And if you want to flick them on and test them, that's fine. But only after you've like fully maxed out your YouTube campaigns. I highly recommend that. Now with these specific channels, if you just got meta ads, which are 9:16 and they are fully mobile optimized, just leave all of these on. Google will push them out to people who are on mobile because we ticked it off mobile. However, if you do make specific 16:9 YouTube in-stream videos, these will perform better. And I'm not talking about taking your mobile and then zooming it back out and then blurring the background so it's forcing it to be 16:9. I'm talking about dedicated YouTube ads. This is something that we do here at Demand Capture. And if you really want to break into the full blue ocean, which has just not been tapped at all, guaranteed for your industry, dedicate your budget and dedicate your time to YouTube ads specific, 16:9 specific YouTube ads. Again, if you're at all interested in that, then come talk to us because we can help you with this. Audiences, leave it completely broad. Optimize targeting, turn it off. We're letting the creative do the talking here in terms of the pocket and the angle and the actual creative concept of who we're talking to within the market that we're serving. Any guesses of audiences here, you'll want to test after you've got your winning creatives, or if you know there's a specific saved audience that you have in terms of what they search, what websites they go on, the specific demographics, here's where you put them. Say, for example, you're only serving women. You'd want to exclude men out of this just in the audience, but keeping it the rest of it broad. Google knows better than you, and there's going to be a lot of surrendering that will need to happen when it comes to Google Ads in 2025 and beyond. This is part of that in terms of just letting Google do the targeting for you and letting Google understand who you're targeting with your creative, pushing it out there and then seeing the results based on that. So leave your audience broad, turn off your optimized targeting. Now for the ads, you want to select video ad, you want to name your ads, and the final URL is very important here. You never want to send cold traffic YouTube ads specifically to a product page, which is just a product. You at least need to have a sales argument on there, or a highly converting product page, which is more or less a sales page to best practices. We never send cold traffic to anything other than a highly written, highly considered sales page or sales argument for a sales letter. Other things that you can test in terms of the conversion mechanism that you use on your YouTube campaigns are advertorials, listicles, VSLs, quiz funnels, or just dedicated sales pages. We found advertorials and sales pages to be the best so far. Listicles in terms of education need to be congruent with the ad. Otherwise it isn't congruent with the ad and they're just there there reading a 5 reasons why. If you have a clear advertorial which is congruent with the ad and you found that to be a winner on Meta, you can also do that here on Google as well. And this is where you would do the page targeting. For videos, you want to select your 5 best videos, and these can be your Meta winners, or these can be specific YouTube creators which you make specifics for YouTube, which are native to the YouTube platform. What is native to the YouTube platform? Specifically podcast clips and street interviews. These 2 formats are extremely popular on YouTube Shorts in terms of what people go on YouTube to watch. They watch podcasts, they watch street interviews, they watch educational content, they watch edutainment content. So if you're able to film ads or even AI generate ads, which are street interviews, which are podcast ads, then these will work natively very well on YouTube. UGC also works extremely well. Anything that works well on TikTok Shop, if you're running TikTok Shop, will also work on YouTube too, which is what we found. Video enhancements, you want to turn these off. You don't need these. And then for text headlines, long headlines, descriptions, you can either take your best performing Performance Max assets and put them in here, or you would need to write specific, strong, direct response headlines, long headlines and descriptions that are 40 characters long for the headlines, 90 characters for the long headlines and descriptions, which aren't too clickbaity, because you will get policy struck by that if you are being, shocking truth or reveals, you don't want to do that. But if you're just stating the facts and telling the truth, then Google will let you advertise on here. Again, if you want a guide on how to write the best Google Ads copy, link in the description to our free Google Ads course. Call to action is usually always learn more or shop now. You can automate it to see what Google finds best for it, but typically speaking, go shop now. Business name, you put in your business name and then use the site links which you have across your account. After that's done, you then review and publish, and it's literally that simple. Just that most people don't know about this. The key here though is actually in the scaling method. After that, you need to be adding more budget. You need to be observing the creators which are in there for around 3 days or so. If they're converting, great. If they're in KPI, great. If they're not, cut them immediately. And you're going to need a high volume creatives to find the right creative with the right conversion mechanism to get the cost per acquisition that you're looking for, which is sustainable for you. With the example that I showed you at the start of the video, we know our numbers to where $40 CPA is actually good for us, because we're first order profitable and break even, and we know our LTV. So we know we're willing to spend $40 to acquire that customer, because once we've acquired that customer, they're going to buy from us again and again and again. And because we know our COGS also, we can then scale to or just past break even to justify spending that to acquire that customer. So you want to let creatives run for around 3 days, cull any ones which aren't in KPI, and continue scaling spend on the winners by separating them out into their own ad group where it's winners and it's testing within the one campaign. So if you crack this, and I do guarantee that you will crack this eventually, because every single brand can run this. It's like if it works on Meta, it can work on Google. You just need to understand again what the conversion mechanism is going to be, what the creative's got to be, and putting enough spend behind it. You can spend $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 per day on YouTube dedicated campaigns, acquiring 50, 100, 150 new customers per day, which you weren't even able to get on Meta in the first place. What would that do to your brand? If you understand your COGS, you understand your AOV, you understand your new customer acquisition costs, if it's all within KPI and you're able to basically duplicate your Meta campaign and your Meta funnels onto Google and spend more and acquire a whole pool of new customers which your competitors aren't going for, that you wouldn't have reached in the first place, then this is going to work for you. So if you want the full detailed instructions, again, free course, second link in the description, has our YouTube Shorts module in there for you to run. If you want us to do this for you and set this up for you, click the first link in the description, check out our case studies, watch the rest of the content on my channel, and book a call for us to work with you. And if you want to learn more about how we think about Google Ads, how we prioritize cold customers for our clients, and if you want case studies on how we actually perform for our clients, click this video on screen here. I go through how we use YouTube Shorts plus all the other campaigns you have in Google Ads for e-commerce to scale this brand and make $486,000 in 31 days, and how we took a brand from £50 all the way to £1,500 per day in spend in 30 days. I'll see you in that video.